On this week's episode, the Peloton London studio family grows with the addition of 2 new tread coaches.
And the epic Beyonce artist drop, the second in the series, with lots to do and much, much more.
Welcome to Pelo Buddy TV, a show for the Peloton community by the Peloton community. Here are your hosts, Amanda Siegel and John Pruitt.
Welcome to episode 58 of Pelo Buddy TV, a show for the Peloton community by the Peloton community. I'm John Pruitt, joined as always by my co-host, Amanda Siegel. Hey now, Amanda.
Hey, John. How are you?
I'm good. Another good week. Fully, like the fall weather is here.
Well, I can't say I know the full weather because I've been down in Florida and
You're soaking up the sun. Yeah.
You know what? Actually, interestingly enough, it hasn't been the weather this week. Actually, hasn't been that great. It's been really windy. We got gorgeous weather last week, and this week's been a little windy. I did get a little bit of time on the beach yesterday, and but other than that, yeah. But it's been good. It's been good. But a busy week on the Peloton platform, that is for sure. Lots for us to talk about this week in the show again, right, John?
Oh yeah, yeah.
I'm telling you.
Got lots of good class picks. I was pretty active on both the tread and the bike. So
Me
lots
too.
Of good,
Me too. I can't wait to share. Yeah. Good. Well, folks, as you know, before we get started with the show, we always like to remind you how you can keep up to date with all of our content across all of our platforms. Every episode is released on our YouTube channel. Just hit the subscribe button in the bottom right-hand side of the video and hit the notify button so that you never miss an episode.
And also, if you prefer to listen to us while you're on the go, of course, we're on all traditional podcast platforms. Just search Pelo Buddy TV, hit subscribe, click notifications so you never miss an episode. And please leave us a review. We'd love to hear your feedback. If you're enjoying the show, please let us know. And if you have any suggestions for how we can improve it or maybe possible interviews, we love to hear from you.
Yeah, of course. And also finally, folks, we're on Facebook and Instagram. So just search Pelo Buddy and follow us on those platforms for all the latest news. And I guess, John, let's get on with the show.
First, let's do a rundown of the latest Pelo news.
Well, folks, Peloton pulled out all the stops with the new Beyonce Artist Series this past week. As you guys will remember, a Beyonce Artist Series was released last November, but now we have round 2. And there are so many choices. It is insane. The classes are really easy to find. They are in their own collection, which you can grab right off the bike, the tread, or the app. In total, there are 17 new classes that dropped over a 3-day period. So the series kicked off with a 30-minute 2-for-1 ride with Hannah Frankson and Cliff out of the London studio. And while I don't want to give away any spoilers for my picks of the week, it was definitely the one to kickstart the series. I have to say, this fantastic, and I'll share more with you later. Robin Arazon then did a 45-minute live ride that evening, and that, folks, can be paired with a Alex 10-minute warm-up and a 10-minute cool-down with Tunde. So love the fact that you can flank the and have a complete Beyonce experience from start to finish, right?
Cool down. Yeah,
exactly. And then on the floor, you can choose a meditation with Chelsea, a bar class with Ali, a slow flow yoga class in German with Nico, and that all dropped on Tuesday. On Wednesday, Eric did a live strength class in German, and Kirsten Ferguson killed it on the tread. Chase Tucker had dropped a tread bootcamp, Rebecca an outdoor walk, and then on Thursday, we got a live power yoga class with Aditi and another meditation with Chelsea. which was also live. We also saw a strength class with Ben, a meditation with the DT, a power yoga with Mariana, which was in Spanish, and a full body stretch with Hannah Corbin. So, John, there is definitely something for everybody in this artist series. No question that they truly pulled out all the stops on this one.
There's something in every modality, as you would say, Amanda.
Absolutely. It sure was. But what was really nice to see was that as part of the series drop, Peloton has shared that they will expand their partnership with the 10 HB, historical Black colleges and universities. So as you may remember, when the first Beyonce series dropped last fall, Peloton had announced that they were gifting free digital memberships to students. This year now, they've actually shared that they will be providing Peloton bikes for the fitness centers at these schools. So I think that is pretty cool, a really, really wonderful addition. And all those folks that had the year to be on the platform can now actually enjoy it on the hardware. So I think that's really cool. Also,
it's a really nice upgrade.
Wasn't that amazing? And I'm sure with all the refurbished bikes that have come in, I'm assuming that they have the ability to offer this type of thing to the colleges. What else? Peloton has also created a challenge around the series, John. So it is called the Source Your Power Challenge, and it encourages members to challenge one's body and mind. Members are required to take at least 6 classes over a 1-week period. The challenge actually started this past Friday, the 22nd, and it runs through the 29th. One can take any one of the modalities to qualify, but the goal is to encourage members just to try something new that you wouldn't have tried before. So I love that. I love the fact that they've kind of encompassed all the different activities to do that. Yeah. But you know what? Between you and me, I'm actually a little frustrated that the challenge only started on Friday, because by Thursday, I had done my 6. Now, I'm not sure, what I am sure is that a lot of members probably have already done the same as I have, because I could just see it all over, social media. But, what I wanted to try and see was whether or not they would retroactivate it, and we would still get the badge. So that we're going to have to kind of see through the week. And if not, I guess I'm jumping back on, because a lot of those workouts were truthfully ones that I would definitely do again. No question. I love the series. I'm not a huge Beyonce fan, but I do love the way that, Peloton really embraced her incredible music and, gave us a little bit of everything. There was some Destiny's Child. There was some pure Beyonce. There was, a little bit of everything.
Some of the collaboration.
A lot of the collab stuff. Exactly. Yeah. So you certainly will get to see some of that in my picks of the week this week. That I did embrace the new artist series and really, really loved it. And then lastly, talking about Beyonce, John, we got to see a teaser for Ivy Park on Peloton's social media, which possibly means that we're looking at another Adidas, Peloton, and now Beyonce apparel collab. So for those of you that are unfamiliar, Beyonce had collaborated with Adidas in a collection called Ivy Park. So our assumption is that we'll see a drop in apparel collaborating all 3. So we'll have to see what happens in the next few days.
I just hope that if there isn't a new Adidas apparel collaboration, it's better than the last one, because
you've made it very clear that you didn't like the last one.
that one was lousy in terms of fit. I agree. Just the overall quality was lacking.
A lot of complaints.
I know a lot of members messaged apparel support and received credits for poorly placed logos that were peeling or that were cut off, including myself on a pair of track pants. So hopefully they've improved it with the private Peloton apparel lines, that they put out since then.
I'm hoping. I didn't get anything, to be honest with you. Nothing appealed to me, but I did hear a lot of folks complain. So I guess we'll wait and see. And I must be honest, I wasn't familiar with Ivy Park. I wasn't familiar with the collaboration that Beyonce had with Adidas. So I had done some I had done some research for the show. And this is actually her. I know she's about to launch her fourth kind of collaboration with them in this, Ivy Park sphere. So I guess we'll get to see.
Wait and find out. Well, we have a big announcement on Thursday. Peloton announced 2 new tread instructors who will both be teaching out of the London studio, John Hosking and Joslyn Thompson Rule. John Hosking's on Peloton's blog described him as paintings, penalties, and PBs. And he has a background in painting where he received a degree in art history from university. And it was there where he became the president of the football club. So there's your penalties from football. And from there, his creative journey took him into the world of fashion, where he worked for several years with some of the world's leading fashion houses as a male model. And from there, that led him to the fitness world and personal training. And John had his 20-minute premiere run on Saturday, the 23rd of October. And apparently he also, just a little side note, he also does enjoy being on a rower because he once did a fundraiser by rowing a marathon distance for 5 days in a row. So maybe we'll see him coaching on the rower whenever that new piece of equipment gets released eventually. And Joslyn Thompson Rule, Amanda, her background, she's a sports therapist, master trainer. She's also a podcaster. She has her own podcast titled Fitness Unfiltered. She's an author. She has a published book titled How to Move It, Reset Your Body. And she's a mom. She previously worked at Nike, and she also had her 20-minute premiere run on Sunday, the 24th. So check those out if you were not able to run those live with them.
And John, of course, we can say you HIHF'd it because I think we even have which episodes we had announced it. I don't know if you made a note of that, but I think we announced Joslyn episode 49 and John was announced episode 52. So just quite a few weeks back we had our little spies out there knowing that they were jumping on board. And you know what, we get such a kick out of the fact that we know this ahead of the time. But that was really exciting.
We got to give credit to Pelo sleuth Chris Lewis for uncovering the HIHF instructor deets. For sure. Well, we have another one, don't we? We do. We have another instructor rumor. Her name is Mila Lizar, and she could be joining as a cycling instructor. We don't know yet. She has some cycling background, so that's pure speculation what she might be teaching, but most likely out of the London studio. She previously taught HIIT classes at a gym called Another Space in London, and was most recently teaching at Equinox locations around London as well. And in 2016, according to my notes from Chris here, she worked with the Sweaty Betty platform, which I don't know, I'm not familiar with that exercise platform, Sweaty Betty is actually a clothing brand. It's a gym apparel clothing brand, and in fact, I have a couple of their things. It's an amazing clothing brand. Oh, okay.
Well, apparel band.
I thought it was an exercise app platform.
Yeah, no, it's a clothing brand. Yeah.
But just some more of her, just little tidbits about her background. Mila, she previously taught dance, was a certified Pilates instructor as well. And she also worked with the True Connect TV.fit team on their app, where she taught some FST workouts, which stands for Functional Agility and Strength Training. So
awesome.
Keep an eye out. I don't know when that'll be announced, but usually we're right on target with these rumors when we put them out there.
Yeah.
And a good indicator is, a lot of the instructors, they start to follow them. A lot of the Peloton instructors, they start to follow them on social, and you kind of see that activity. If you're, Chris Lewis has a good eye for that. So nothing gets past him.
I'm curious to know what the relationship was. I wonder if Ben knew John actually previously, because I think that he may have actually been at their engagement party. There was a picture I caught on Instagram with Ross. Ross had welcomed him on his Instagram, and there was a picture of him and John and Hannah Frankson, and it looked like it could have been at the party. I just kind of glimpsed over it really quickly. But that could be, that could be something there. There may be a relationship, but it's really cool for them to have grown so significantly over these past 6 months. I mean, with JJ and with Susie, now these two, potentially Mila, and of course, the German instructors are out of London as well. So they have quite a nice little network and family out there, which I think is so cool, because it just gives them a little bit more of a group type feeling, of all being inclusive of one another. So that was really exciting. Go ahead.
Go ahead. No, they have a nice little sort of, group of, camaraderie going, kind of very similar to Callie and Rad and Daniel and a lot of the other, newbies that are new to the New York studio, because you always hear them in the background. They always seem to be at the studio when some of the other instructors are going live on Instagram. So, it's fun to see that interaction, just passing by when they're cruising around in the hallway.
Yeah, no, it is fun. It is. And we have started seeing that. And even now I noticed, Leanne will post in the mornings when she has her early ride classes, Eric, where are you? I'm looking for my coffee. And, it's just kind of nice that they all kind of interact with one another. Just on a side note, which I thought was kind of cool to see, was that Ben and Leanne actually got a tread delivered this week. So I think with all these new tread instructors, it's going to get them definitely on the platform, and everyone was excited. I mean, I think people are holding out for one of them, but now I don't think so. I mean, now that there are all these new tread instructors, I was thinking that maybe one of them would jump on tread platform too. But I think they're going to kind of stick to what they're doing, which is interesting. But we could potentially be seeing Callie Gullickson on the bike, John. So we got something which kind of flashed by us. Callie Gullickson was potentially on the schedule, or at least on the drop down for bike bootcamps.
I'm actually checking to see if she's still there now.
It's not. I checked. I did check. No, John. As soon as we announced it, it was gone. It's gone. As soon as. But so Callie
I just see Jess and Tunde are currently.
Right. Yeah. So her name showed up in the instructor drop down for upcoming bootcamp classes. Of course, it could have just simply been a glitch in the system. Who knows? Because it was in fact removed, John, very shortly after it popped up. So it just could have been an oops. But we actually did see Callie share on her Instagram stories this past week that she took one of Robin's bike bootcamp classes. So could this be an HIHF moment for you guys, that we may see her on there? At least you can say you heard it here first. If we finally get to see her teaching bike boot camps, that could be fun. But I guess we'll just wait and see.
Either way, they went ahead and fixed the glitch.
They did.
That's my little Office Space movie reference for those Office Space fans out there.
Oh, okay. Too funny.
Well, in other, just a little quick tidbit, not a whole lot of substance to this update, but Becs and Emma are filming new Scenic classes, and I believe it was Becs. I don't think it was Emma, but Becs recently, this past week, just randomly in one of her Instagram stories, mentioned that her and Emma were filming new Scenic content. So it didn't allude to whether it would be, bike, running, hiking, walking, what have you, but stay tuned for Scenic collaboration with Becs and Emma.
HIHF.
And I don't know when we're going to be seeing that Scenic content that Ben and Jess Sims recorded, did out in Iceland.
A couple weeks ago, of course.
I mean, I'm sure it takes tons of, man hours on the back end, to produce all that and, put it all together and, continuity. But I'm sure it'll turn out fantastic whenever we see it. But I kind of, that made me think of that when they posted in Iceland, going up that hike, and they were all, dressed up and sort of, the weather was, super rainy, and they were pretty much
freezing.
Yeah, and all their rain gear. Yeah. Weather didn't look that great, but hopefully we'll be. Yeah,
well, this time I guess Becs and Emma never gave too much away, right? There were no locations we could get our, Inspector Gadget out to kind of see where they were.
No eating.
And figure out.
What was it?
Gelato, right?
Yeah.
That was fun. That was fun to get to see.
Giveaways.
Yeah, but they'd be great. I think that both Becs and Emma would be great in something scenic like that, because especially Becs, she's so engaging, and after her marathon running and her documentary, that could be really cool to get to see what what they come up with for that.
Yeah, I love them both.
Well, yeah, John, so switching gears completely, and I was excited to get to be the one to talk about this week. But for this week's Dancing with the Stars update, because I know that all of you want to know about the Dancing with the Stars update.
Yeah, I have plenty to say about this week too.
Good. Well, we'll banter back and forth, but let's go. So our boo Cody, this week he and Cheryl got to close out the performances with a quick step to the song "We Go Together" from Greece. So this past week's show was all about Greece, and it was kind of fun. They even got Olivia Newton-John and Didi Khan, who we all remember played Frenchie. They got them both on Zoom just to share stories and give encouragement and chat to. They had done some of in the rehearsals. They had actually spoken to them on Zoom as well. I know that Didi had, and it was fun to see. It was fun to see that, and certainly brought back so many memories of the movie being released and the amazing music that Greece has to offer. So John, I'm just going to say it. I mean, I thought Cody looked fantastic. He was definitely pleased that he had the hair to look the part and did not have to wear that crazy headpiece.
Yeah, right.
And I thought he did an amazing job.
I agree. I thought it was their best performance yet.
For sure, right? Best performance yet.
They looked most sharp, comfortable together so far in the ballroom. Yeah.
Exactly. And you got to remember, they have there is no question in anybody's mind, the hardest time. I mean, from going to having to, do the rehearsal that they got to have to show as one of their dancers, to doing it independently from,
training
from
remotely.
New York. And I mean, come on, you got to give this duo some slack. And John, for whatever reason, it is so bloody evident that the judges do not like him. I mean, come on. I don't get it. But you know what? I think what we all have, there is just no question that the power of the Peloton community is real. Our votes are definitely what is keeping Cody in. And while his score was second from the bottom, from the judges, he wasn't even in the bottom two for elimination. So keep on voting.
He has yet to, and we'll point out, he has yet to be in the bottom two and face elimination. So I want to take umbrage with Chris Lewis, because in the little note for our show this week, he wrote, "Cody survives Grease week," like he was facing elimination, which he was not.
There was no survival. He just did it, right?
But it was surprising,
I agree.
Amanda. He got much better scores this week. I think he got. Did he get all
8s and 1/7?
All 8s and 1/7.
All eights. Yeah. I think you're right.
So his best score yet, but it was surprising to see I'll be honest, I don't watch, all I want to watch is Cody. So I fast forward right to his performance and I go right to the end to see the bottom two who are facing elimination. But I was surprised to see when they put the standings of all 11 or 12 performances. I was surprised, probably just like you, to see that he was second to last in the in the overall scores for that
he was
night.
Second to last, and it just proved. So it just proves that everybody has to vote. Your partners, your kids, Grammy and Grandpa. Everybody has to vote. And I actually have my parents with me this week here in Florida. And I was like grabbing my mom's phone. I was grabbing my dad's phone. I was like texting the kids. And it was like everybody, it was like, you got to do this. You got to make sure that you vote. And I had the entire family voting. My father was like, what are you doing with my phone? What's this Cody all over my phone? My 86-year-old father. And I was like, just don't worry about it. We're voting.
and all the instructors are, posting on Instagram and on their stories that day and night to text, 21523 Cody, so everybody is getting the word out, not just all the members and, people in the community, but, everyone, working at Peloton.
For sure. I mean, it's amazing. It's amazing. Well, unfortunately, though, we did see Mel C and her dancing around on the show. And I have to be honest with you, I was shocked. I was actually shocked because I thought that they were exceptionally good and was very surprised that they, were cut by the judges. So I don't know I don't know. I don't know what the thought process is behind all of this. I know that they sit with their notebooks and they make their notes and they look for specific things. I don't want to call anybody out there, but there certainly was some that should have gone that didn't. And, I was really surprised. So look, I think the competition is absolutely, there was Jojo Siwa that they got 10s or, right across the board. That was the first time that 10s were given, and I think across the board. There was very high scores, and my stomach, and them being the last to perform, my stomach was like in a knot. I did watch all of it, so I watched the whole show, and when I saw those high scores, I was like, I don't know where Cody's going to fit in, but it did prove that the Peloton community, regardless of whether you like Cody or you don't like Cody, I think that people are voting irrespective because it's all about Peloton and our amazing community.
Yeah, and showing up for one another and supporting it. Yeah,
exactly.
And it obviously shows. Here's my gripe with the voting system for the judges when they have to eliminate someone, and I thought it was really ridiculous because obviously the public does not like Olivia Jade, and I am one of those people that cannot stand her because she's just this young, privileged person with wealthy parents that bought her way into college. And she just doesn't really have any business being on Dancing with the Stars. It's not a good fit with the rest of the contestants. And when they said Olivia Jade, one of the bottom two, you could see how surprised she looked because the judges have done nothing but kiss her ass every week, week after week, and praise her. And here's the deal. So two judges, I can't remember which specific ones, voted to save Mel C. Yeah. And then a third judge.
I believe it was Carrie Ann and Derek.
Okay. And then Bruno, I guess, voted to save Olivia. So it's 2-1. So, Len, since he's the big wig, senior judge, if it comes down to him voting for someone that essentially makes it a tie, so if he voted to save Olivia Jade, his vote counts basically one extra, so that breaks the tie. So he voted to keep Olivia Jade, and then she's saved. Right. She lives another week. So I just thought that was so ridiculous, the way it all panned out. And Mel C seemed super sad, and even Cody on his he did a 30-minute noon pop ride from the Pasadena showroom on Thursday. This past Thursday, he said some really sweet things about Mel C. She gave everyone a Spice Girls sweatshirt and another piece of apparel, and he just he just had nothing but good things to say about her. So it was really heartfelt, and it was a nice moment during the course of the ride. But I could kind of tell he held back. He definitely showed restraint and not, negatively,
bashing.
downing. Yeah. But you could definitely tell his disappointment in her
being eliminated
off the show. Yeah, being eliminated.
Yeah.
And I just think I just can't stand her, and I can't hold back now.
Yeah. No, I mean, I get it. I get it.
Dislike for her.
Yeah. Look, I get it.
Just go back to YouTube. Go back to giving tutorials on your makeup and those other products that you claim to love. That you claim to love that you get for free. I'm just not a fan of her. I'm not a fan of the family and the privilege and yeah. Anyway.
Yeah, I mean, it was ugly. And I think that is the only reason that, her claim to fame, which I think in itself, what they were trying to say was that she's overcome, this, and that's kind of what, what's given her that ability to be on there. But I hear you. And I have to say, out of her and Melcy, I thought Melcy was amazing. So I was shocked that that's who they eliminated. But there's obviously some political agenda behind all of it. It is a show that's looking for ratings. Who knows? Yeah,
there's a whole element that obviously that's behind it. Hopefully, they're really secretly rooting for Cody and they're hoping to pit him against JoJo. As the dark horse.
I hope so. I hope that that's what, it's so funny. I'm in a group text on Monday nights that we all message about it. And that was one of the things that somebody said was maybe they're playing him up to be this dark horse that will eventually come out, from the rear. I'm praying that's the reason.
I definitely feel in my bones he's going to make it all the way to the end, if not win that mirror ball trophy. So I will say though, I really miss him being at Peloton Studios, New York. And while it's still fun that he's teaching at the showroom, the sound isn't as good. It's kind of monotone. Yes. You don't have the full rich sound. There's no pre-show, which if you ever have done a live class with Cody, he comes on super early before the start of a live class, maybe 7-8 minutes early. And there's just a lot of fun bantering. He'll read a funny leaderboard name, then go into a funny story about it. I miss that. And I miss my bike boot camps with him. So
John, does he realize that this is major material for you that you're missing out on by him not doing? I mean, seriously, what's going to happen to your TikTok and your, and your memes?
I know. I'm glad.
You got to have a word with him. You got to have a word with him. He's got to find place to put that into there. Otherwise, this is going to be very boring going forward.
But he has had some really funny moments from his showroom rides. I just did one. I've only done one. I've just done one ride, and I didn't have an opportunity to jump back on to do any of the others. But and they've definitely, and I'll give it all hats off to Peloton. They've definitely upped the remote class because when they were doing live from home, it was just one fixed camera angle, and they've got at least 3, I want to say, from both sides.
I did notice that. Funny, I picked that up right away. I did pick that up.
Yeah. So that's nice, and it's nice, the backgrounds at the showroom. Seeing the background of the showroom. There's a picture of Robin on the wall, and then in the far distance, you see my tread boom, Addy Majacomo there, and you kind of see the equipment in the front of the showroom there. So that's kind of cool.
Like that aspect of it, as opposed to him doing it from his apartment or wherever he's staying.
Or some random stage space, with just random decorations that are just, set up there by someone.
Yeah.
So it's still kind of cool.
Well, we'll keep on watching. We'll keep on voting. And folks, if you're listening to the show, if you're watching the show, please make sure you vote, because I think for us as a community, it's just going to be so fun to get him to the end. And as we said, maybe they're pitching him to be the dark horse, and we'll see what happens on finale night.
I don't even know how long the season goes to, if it wraps up before Thanksgiving, but we're in week 5 or week 7.
I forget how many contestants there actually are on the show. I must be honest. I
think
20?
We're down to 10 or 11 pairs now, I think. Okay. Something like that. But anyway, so moving on to other news. So we've got an upcoming Peloton earnings call that was recently announced. So the company just recently announced that their Q1 2022 earnings results will be released Thursday, November 4th. They'll also hold a call later that day to discuss the results. And then just past this past August, we had the Q4 2021 earnings call that happened. But expect a focus on the lower cost tread and some of the questions from analysts around when new products, for the strength platform might be rolling out. But also we could find out more about when the Tread Plus might be coming back to market.
Yeah.
But pure speculation. It's just my, a lot of people have been. I see Peloton on social, like they just posted on Instagram, they posted a screenshot of someone on Twitter, posting that their tread arrives tomorrow. And Peloton, said, what expert, feedback advice do you have someone for getting their new Peloton tread? And there was the slew of questions. When's the Tread Plus coming back out? And Peloton kept responding with that same sort of boilerplate response. We're in an active, safety recall right now while we continue to, make improvements and adjustments. So I know it's on a lot of people's minds, especially the ones that are still holding out to get it and don't want the lower cost baby tread.
Right.
So maybe we'll get an update on it. Maybe
we'll get to see.
Yeah.
Well, moving from tread to bikes, it was announced actually, John, this past week that Peloton Australia will actually continue to expand sales in a vaster area. So after launching in Oz back in July with the Bike and Bike Plus, it was only available in Sydney, Melbourne, and Brisbane. But now from November 10th, orders for bikes will be available for folks that live in Perth, Adelaide, and surrounding metro areas. So it definitely is opening up to more of Australia. So I guess they wanted to kind of just focus on an area, make sure that they could get them out, make sure that they were in fact, being bought and sold, etc. In the meantime, Peloton members can, of course, join the app as well as share their email for those folks in those new areas. They can share their email with Peloton to be on the list for release day, so that they would be, one of the first to get notified in being able to purchase one. And not to forget, folks, if you are trying to coax your friends, not necessarily Australia related, but just for everybody watching the show, if you are looking to coax your friends into getting onto the bandwagon, jumping onto the cult, don't forget, it just this past week, we saw Peloton release the 60-day guest pass. So that now is available that you can share with friends. So as opposed to just folks getting a $30, a 30-day free, free membership to the app, you can now do it for 60 days free membership. So it gives you a whole 2 months to decide whether or not you want to move forward on the platform. So definitely share that. It pops up right there on the app. It comes up on the on the bike and the tread.
A red little banner there, so you can't miss it.
Exactly. You really can't miss it. And it's right there on the app. So definitely share that with friends so that they too can join the platform.
Very cool.
All right.
Well, we've got tons of Halloween classes to look forward to this coming week, Amanda. 14 in all across all the different modalities, beginning October 25th, running all the way to Halloween. And there's something for everyone. There's from yoga flows to runs, rides, strength, HIIT cardio. Most notably on my radar, there's a 30-minute Halloween run with Maddie Majacomo on Tuesday night, the 26th at 7 p.m. Eastern time, which is much less than ideal for me to work out at night. But I know you're going to be there.
I know you're going to be there. We want to see what he's wearing.
Yes, and I don't know. He hasn't revealed what what he's going to be dressing up in costume, but I would expect an appearance from his alter ego, Marathoner, the chain-smoking marathon mom from Short Hills, New Jersey, that he's done. He first debuted that last Halloween on his Halloween run, and then brought her back for his Christmas, his holiday run a couple months later. Sadly, I was messaging with Matt Wilpers a couple days ago. Sadly, he's taken this year off from doing a Halloween class. So we won't get a Halloween ride from Matt Wilpers this year like we have in the past. Last year, he did Olivia. He usually dresses up in character as another instructor. Last year, we got Olivia, which was super funny because he had this fake ponytail on, held on by a little hairnet, and he had a little top on.
Too funny.
In the full leggings, and he was doing the full Olivia pose with the hair. Previously, he's done a couple years back. He went as Dennis. He had long hair with a headband on, and then in Halloween 2019, which is my favorite one of his, he dressed as Cody, and he even drew the Mickey Mouse tattoo on his underarm there, and he put in a fake earring, and he had the short pink shorts on, and he did all of Cody's classic bits, but he did them PG style, because Matt, he keeps it,
he's a
keeps
good
it
guy.
clean,
Definitely keeps
doesn't
it clean.
swear. He's a sweetheart though, but I was bummed. I was bummed when he got back to me and said, "Yeah, I'm taking this year off. Sorry."
I'm looking forward to seeing what Maddie does to Jess this year. Every year he does something. He does something for her. So I'm curious to see what happens there. Last year was hysterical.
And he's really he has to get creative because she didn't really. She was expecting it. So when he popped out in that sort of schoolgirl dress up with the really scary blown
mask
face with ponytails, and it had some green ooze coming out of its mouth. They showed her walking out of the studio, and she was just trepidatiously, taking step by step, just waiting for him to pop out.
She knew something was happening.
Yeah. And he tried to psych her out with walking in with was it a Yeti costume?
I don't remember that.
The what do you call the elusive Yeti in the woods?
You're stumping me because I don't remember that. Not the abominable
snowman, but Sasquatch. It was almost like a Bigfoot costume, and he tried to psych her out walking up to her with flowers, saying funny. How he was sorry for always scaring, but then later he went to really give her the scare, but she totally knew it was coming. So it'll be he's gonna have to step it up, obviously.
It's gonna be a fun week coming up.
Yeah, no Cody. I was hoping we might get a Halloween ride from Cody from the showroom, but
he's too busy.
He doesn't have the
We're
time
getting the best. Let me tell you, whatever we can get from Cody, we're holding on to. We're getting whatever we can get, but so it'll definitely be fun.
But also. Be sure to head over to pelobuddy.com because we have the full listing of all the Halloween classes that are upcoming this coming week, as well as the ones from 2020 and 2019 that are still available on demand. And there's some good nuggets in there that I haven't even ever done. So definitely check them out.
Yeah, I do love it. I love that you're able to do that off the pelobuddy.com website because sometimes it's hard to actually find them, especially the new ones, sort them, on the platform. So being able to go over, and Chris does such a great job in listing them all out, it's very helpful to do that. So definitely head over to pelobuddy.com to get all of that information. Well, moving on. Who loves Tabata? Not me.
Tabata tears.
Not me, but for all you crazies, including you, Daisy Mac, I know you're watching this and she loves her Tabata. You should know that Peloton are no longer trying to kill you. They have decided that killing their members is not a good idea, and they have actually eliminated any Tabata classes that are over 30 minutes. So the longest class that you can do is going to be a 30-minute Tabata. And good job, Peloton. I think that you were very wise in this decision, because who the hell wants to do a 45-minute Tabata ride? But the 45-minute death traps have in fact been eliminated. Tabata lovers, in fact, haven't seen a 45-minute, John, since back in February. So I believe that February 2nd was the last time that they had released a 45-minute. So they quietly kind of eliminated, but how do we know? They haven't made a public announcement, but for our little investigators, Ali Love spilled the beans on her last Tabata ride that she did. She had actually mentioned twice in that ride that Tabata classes will be no longer than 30 minutes. She mentioned, which was interesting, that the reason for that is that she said that one needs enough recovery to hit an output that you're proud of, that makes you, and this is, I'm quoting from what she'd said, that makes you question yourself and all your relationships, even ours. So I thought that was kind of cute. So, for those of you that are looking for longer, harder workouts, there are still HIIT workouts that are offered over 30 minutes. So the high intensity interval training classes. And in fact, Ben just did one recently that was a 60-minute HIIT and Hills. So that was the first 60-minute HIIT and Hills. It was just last month. That was the first one that is on the platform. There are about 5 new 45-minute HIIT classes on the schedule as well. And those were just this past month. So for all you crazies that are annoyed that Tabata is no longer than 30 minutes, you can now jump on the HIIT classes. You know what, John? It's interesting, and I'll talk about it in Picks of the Week, but I am just not a Tabata fan. I'm embracing HIIT and Heels, and we'll talk about it in Picks of the Week, but it was certainly no love lost to me that it was no longer going to be available.
Yeah, I mean, I don't have I'm not mad at it. I like Tabata or, HIIT rides when I'm in the mood, to be tortured and really want a really hard, challenging workout. But it's not like, oh, such a bummer, I'm not going to have my 45-minute Tabata anymore. I don't think they're going to get too many complaints about this one. I mean, people always complain about everything, but I don't think this is going to raise such a big stink in the Peloton community. I think people they'll be okay with this change.
True.
So in other news, Peloton is reported to be hiring, increasing their employee numbers. So in a recent interview with Wealth Insider, Peloton's VP of Talent Acquisition, Tim Brown, said that Peloton plans to hire anywhere from 3,000 to 5,000 new employees over the next 18 months. They're staffing an expanded campus outside of Dallas, Texas in Plano, a brand new international support center in Cork, Ireland, as well as the new Peloton Output Park, Output Factory in Ohio, which they recently broke ground on. So that's massive growth in, such a short time, 18 months. That's a pretty short time frame, but just explosive.
Tons of new opportunities for tons of folks. So if you are part of that Peloton cult and you want to be even furtherly immersed in the culture, then you can look at getting a job with one of those locations. And then the last little bit of news, John, Peloton blog this past week. In the Peloton blog this past week, they shared how they built the recommendation system. So when you log on, whether it be on your bike or your tread, you'll always see on the screen that there are recommended classes that they suggest. You'll also get your email at the end of the week and telling you, or the end of the month, telling you kind of what you've done and what they would recommend for you to do. And from what I understood from the post in the output, it seems that it was a very well thought out process. So it's not something that they just trivially put out there for folks to say, well, where did this come from? It is something that there is there is a mechanism behind.
There's an algorithm,
an algorithm. Thank you.
It's not not totally random.
Yeah, there was just too much information from the article to share, so I definitely encourage you to head over to the output to take a look and to learn more. But it was a pretty in-depth article, and I couldn't believe how much thought process had gone into, how they had that algorithm put together. So for those folks that are interested in wanting to know what their, where their recommendations come from, certainly head over to take a look at that. And next up, John, instructor in the news. So you go.
Yeah, so we have first it was about a 3-minute Zoom interview with Emma Lovewell. She was interviewed on local NBC Boston affiliate station. The interview is titled "How Superstar Fitness Instructor and Massachusetts native Emma Lovewell Found Success at Peloton." And she talked a lot about it. Emma grew up on Martha's Vineyard, a little island off of Boston. But she talked about how she moved to New York City to become a professional dancer, how one of her last dance gigs was actually for the Rolling Stones at a massive Rolling Stones concert.
Wow.
But after doing professional dancing, modeling, and bartending for almost 5 years, she finally transitioned to fitness. And it was a super brief interview, just over, like I said, just over 3 minutes, but just a nice little glimpse into her background when she first moved to the Big Apple.
Awesome. Yeah, and Hannah Frankson was interviewed in Bustle. It was a really fun article, and it can only be when you're interviewing Hannah. I have really gravitated towards Hannah's social media lately. She is so unbelievably funny, and she was. I
don't think I've ever actually seen or read or seen an interview with her, so I'm really super curious to.
You know what? So yeah, definitely take a look. But just to give you some tidbits, she spoke about how she wants fitness to be perceived as fun and less serious, and for it to be as inclusive as possible. She said she wants everybody to know that they are welcome in her classes. And one of the things, and I'll quote, she said, "A lot of us get told that exercise is to deal with weight." Very interesting, right? But fitness is for everybody. I just hope I bring more people into this arena who maybe thought exercise wasn't for them, that spin wasn't for them, or cycling was never their thing. I want to show them that it's a laugh, that it can be fun, and that it can be fun. So she also chatted about her love of music, specifically in different genres that members may not be familiar with, and bringing them to the bike. And Hannah has definitely done that. There is no question that some of the music that she has brought to the bike was stuff that we would never have listened to. She spoke about her carnival ride and how much that meant to her. They do this UK carnival, and how she's just put so much effort into it. She talks about her cats, and I do have to just throw in this personal little bit is, as I said, I've really been gravitating towards her, and I've been watching her stories lately, and she has these new little kittens that she had gotten a couple weeks ago, and I despise cats. I'm so sorry for anybody watching that has cats or are cat owners, but I've been terrified of cats since a little girl. I'm allergic to cats, and I'm doing this because my kids tell me that it's all mental and that I'm not really allergic. But my daughter, who lives in New York, is desperate to get a cat. And it's so funny though, because I'm like, I'll never come visit you. If you have a cat, I'm just not going to ever come visit you. I have no desire to be anywhere near a cat. I'm not exactly. But I've been watching, these stories with Hannah's bloody kittens, and they're so frigging cute. I'm like, I keep sending them to my daughter and said, maybe I'll like them. Right? Emma's is so cute as well.
Yeah, Emma's little gray cat, Kimchi.
There are a few. So she talks about it in the articles and how the cats have just given her some purpose and just how lockdown was so hard. And, she says she's an extrovert and she really struggled, but she lives in Hackney and would go out and do runs and walks outside just so that she could see people, even though she wasn't really interacting with them, that she had said that. And then one of the questions that was asked was who she would like to team up with next musically on the bike. And her immediate response was Stormzy. And she also said Little Sims. So those were two artists that I'm not familiar with, and I haven't really had the time to research either of them. But I bet we can look out for either a Stormzy or a Little Sims ride with Hannah on the platform. So again, she said that she's wanting to highlight artists that people might not know, and that's a big thing about what she does, that she brings to the bike. So and it's taken off, because I got to tell you, there was a ride she did, and I'm forgetting now, but I think she got 50,000 people on that ride, and it was an artist or a group that I was unfamiliar with. So she definitely gets folks onto the bike. So definitely take a look if you're not too familiar with Hannah Frankson. The article was fantastic, and you can pull it up off the pelobuddy.com website.
Well, that's one thing I've said before. That's what I love so much about Peloton, because I've discovered so much music, even artists that I'm familiar with, but songs that I had no idea they had out there, just from instructors playing it in rides, and from artist series, that musical artists that I wasn't familiar with or would never consider listening to, but I love hearing it on the platform. Yeah, and I'll give Hannah credit. She does have consistently plays some of the best music in her classes. And so we have one other interview, Alex Toussaint. He was recently interviewed on ESPN SportsCenter anchor Scott Van Pelt's podcast called SV Pod. And it's a 30-minute interview. And it was actually really nice I put it on just earlier this afternoon and was just walking around with it in my ear, but it was just a super casual conversation that just flowed really well. And Alex talked a lot about his parents early on when he was younger. His parents sent him to military school because, they were really worried he was going to, get in with the wrong crowd and get into trouble. And they kind of wanted to nip that in the bud. And then after he got out of military school, he started out at a local gym mopping the floors. And then he got his big break to teach spinning there. And I don't know if that was at Flywheel. He doesn't specifically say Flywheel in the podcast. I think it was, but eventually he did become an instructor at Flywheel. But he talked a lot about, he's just a very positive, he just really comes through when you hear him talk, especially in this interview. But he talked a lot about starting the day with gratitude and how blessed he feels for getting to teach at Peloton. And he doesn't look at it as, getting up and having to go to work. He looks at it as, he has the privilege to be there, to be in the Peloton family, and to be blessed to be able to do it. And he just talks about treating every single day like it's an audition. So really, really good interview. We have a link to it on pelobuddy.com. I just listened to it on Spotify, but I'm sure it's on all the major podcast platforms. So definitely check that one out.
Yeah. It's interesting because I don't work out with Alex very much. I did do his Beyonce warm-up ride. But I don't typically work out with him. But one of the things that I will always remember was something that he did back when things were chaotic last year. And, he spoke about his mom and how, when he wasn't on social, he tries to be on social media just so that his mom could see that he was okay, just being a black man in today's world. And it was just something that resonated so strongly with me. And I've held on to that, ever since I heard him talk about that. So that is an interview I definitely want to take an opportunity to listen to. I think that I think that's really a cool one. And then lastly, Dara Tressida was actually featured on NPR, on an NPR podcast this past week as well. So she's definitely been getting a ton of airtime, John.
We've been mentioning her name a lot lately.
A lot. So she was on there. And that pretty much wraps up these stories. I guess next up is our picks of the week.
Dive right into it. Would you like to take the lead this week, Amanda?
I am happy to take the lead this week. I am. The glasses have to go on because you know that I can't. I can't see. I can't see. But I don't need the glasses for this. My top pick of the week on the bike is, without a doubt, the 2-for-1 Beyonce ride with Hannah Frankson and Cliff. It dropped on Tuesday. Tuesday was the 19th. So October 19th, it dropped. It was Cliff's first English speaking ride. So he did the entire ride in English. I've never worked out with Chris because his rides are in German. I think I've done a stretch. I've done a stretch with him because you don't really need to know what they're saying.
I've done a cool down with him, I think.
A cool down with him. Mm-hmm. But John, if you haven't done it, and folks watching, listening, if you haven't done it, I'm telling you, do it. It was fantastic. The chemistry between the two of them was brilliant, absolutely brilliant. Hearing Cliff talk about the three women in his life that keep him real, his mom, his wife, and his baby girl, and just hearing the sensitivity in him sharing that was something that I aspire for my son to one day, be sharing that type of thing and saying that, his mom, his wife, and his daughter are the three women that keep him real. But it was amazing, amazing to hear him say that. What was really cute was Hannah had said Leslie, his wife, was and they were like chatting and bantering back and forth, which I kind of liked because it gave us some insight into the instructors. It was a fun ride. It was an artist series ride. So I didn't feel like, and it was a hard ride. I mean, it wasn't an easy ride. But one of the things that I thought was really cute and I wanted to share was when, Hannah had said how lucky Leslie, his wife, was to have him. And, she hopes one day to find a man just like him. And he turned around and said, I have an older brother. And she didn't expect it to come. And she was like, I don't know how to answer that. I didn't expect you to say something like that, during this ride. And she was like, we need to take that up late. We need to take that up off the bike in the change room later. And it was just so fun to hear them talk about that. One of the things that I absolutely loved about the ride, being a 2-for-1, was one of the songs, they kind of split it up where Hannah, if you chose to ride Resistance, you got to ride with Hannah. And if you chose to ride Cadence, you got to ride with Cliff. And how Cliff was pushing the Resistance riders and how Hannah was pushing the Cadence riders. And, it pushed me. It was a great way. Maybe it has been in a previous 2-for-1. I hadn't seen that in the past. But it was definitely... no, I didn't. And I had done a couple things. I did start off with the, with the warm up with Alex, and I ended with the cool down. This week's kind of been no PBs, and maybe it was because the day before, which is my second pick of the week. So just to finish it off, definitely do it. It is a fantastic, fantastic ride, 30 minutes. And if, those are maybe two instructors you haven't ridden with before, I definitely encourage you to do that. My second, no surprise to anybody, but the reason I'm mentioning it as my second pick of the week is I did Leanne's Hit and Heels from Tuesday morning. It was also the 19th. I didn't do the live ride with Hannah.
Is that the one at 1:30 in the morning?
No, it wasn't one. No. That wasn't,
okay.
That. It was a 9 a.m. ride with Hannah on Tuesday morning, with Leanne on Tuesday morning. as I mentioned earlier in the show, I am not a huge, I don't enjoy it. I just don't seem to gravitate towards Tabata or Hidden Hills, but I did it because Leanne's schedule for me is not so great at the moment since they've changed her schedules. There's only 2 rides a week that I can get to do live with her. And this was one of them. John, it was incredible. It was incredible. I didn't get a PB, but I worked my ass off in that ride. And I have to tell you, I put it up on social media because I was so proud of myself that I had done it and I had accomplished it. And I was right where I wanted to be on my little leaderboard of people that I follow, and that I ride with. And folks were saying afterwards that they hoped that I put it as my pick of the week. All my regulars were like, I hope you put this in. And I was like, yeah, there's no question that I'm putting this as my pick of the week because it was a hard, very well structured, 3-to-1 ratio with her hit. The heels were, and I did it. I haven't reached 100 resistance since I got my Bike Plus. So on my, previous bike, I was able to get to 100 resistance. With the Bike Plus, it's definitely a lot harder because it's auto-calibrated and you're not you're not able to do what you can do on the same on the bike. And I got to 100 resistance. So much so that I actually think I pulled my hamstring and it hasn't been feeling so great. I mean, I did jump on the ride the next day with Hannah and Cliff, but it's a great ride. So definitely encourage folks to jump on that. And then 2 other shout outs. Allie loves Beyonce bar class. It was fantastic. Never done bar. I've just started dabbling in yoga and I'm loving it. I'm doing it slow and I'm doing it kind of here and there. But I did on Thursday, Allie's Beyonce, because I was trying to do, these classes thinking that I was going to get the damn challenge badge. And then I discovered that it wasn't going to be until next week. So I did it. It was fantastic. It was fantastic. It was all body strength. The music obviously was, Beyonce. So the music was amazing. And I loved the difference between, being on the floor, doing some strength, doing some stretching, using some yoga poses. Kudos to Allie, and I will definitely, it was only 20 minutes, so it was perfect, and I will definitely be jumping on the bar platform again for my strength because I'm curious to see, how I'm going to feel with my legs because it was definitely stuff that I hadn't done before, but I highly, highly encourage you guys to do that. And then talking about yoga, Aditi did a 30-minute classical yoga, a classical slow flow. So for someone like me who isn't that good yet at yoga, it's perfect. Again, the music was amazing. She is so magnificent. And I said that to her. She just posted it's Diwali. So happy Diwali to all our Indian listeners and followers. But this past week was Diwali and she had dressed up in the most gorgeous sari and put some stuff on social media. And I reached out to her. We become friends now that I'm this huge yogi and meditator. She's my new best friend. But she had said, I said to her, I said, you are just stunning. And I hope that once things get back to normal, I can get to meet you face to face because she's become my new hero in that aspect of the Peloton platform. But her 30-minute, it was again from Tuesday, the 19th. It was a slow flow and it was fantastic. And then to round off, got to throw in my meditation, and it was her 10-minute morning meditation. And I hit 500 meditations. She gave me a beautiful shout out. I've been trying to do some of these milestones with her since I've, become this huge, meditator. And she gave me a beautiful, beautiful shout out, just saying thank you for being so positive. And she sees me, in my social posts and etc. So that was really cool. So that was my, didn't get to the tread this past week, and I'm really wanting to do Rebecca's 30-minute Beyonce walk, which I hope to do. I hope to do this weekend, but those were my picks of the week.
So very nice. So what I've only done one, for the record. I've only done one Beyonce class, and it was Tunde's 10-minute Beyonce cool down. and that was, all right. I think that was after Cody's Thursday 30-minute pop live from LA. So I still need to jump onto some of the Beyonce stuff. But I'm going to kick it off with Olivia Amato. She had a 30-minute 90s run. There's been a lot of good 90s classes on the tread and bike lately in strength.
You love your 90s. You're not 90s. How do you say it?
My 90s. So 30-minute 90s from Friday, October 15th. And a real good playlist. Music's everything. So this playlist, Fugees, Rob Bass, Notorious B.I.G., Britney and Sync, Spice Girls, just solid run.
Wow.
And and my next one, you'll be surprised, it's a meditation.
I'm so proud of you.
I know. Last weekend we went up to North Michigan. Jackson had a hockey tournament, so I knew Saturday I wasn't gonna be able to ride or get on the tread. So I started off my morning at the hotel where we were staying with a 10-minute. It might have been the same one that from your pick of the week. It's her 10-minute DT's 10-minute morning meditation from Friday, October 8th.
Awesome. Yeah, she does them every Tuesday.
The same one, but
so every Tuesday she does a live morning meditation. So you probably did the one from the week before, which is great.
Yeah, I think it was from Friday. I want to say it was October 8th.
Okay.
Friday, October 8th.
Yeah, I think she might have dropped one on demand. You know what, John? She dropped one on demand because she was away. So I know that she had dropped one on demand. So that's awesome. Yeah. Did you like it?
So it was just it was great. It was just a nice way to sort of just kick off my day. It was also nice to just have a forced rest day because I don't really take a rest day. I usually ride the bike 7 days a week, which obviously wears on my body. So it was actually just nice just not have to worry about taking my shoes and finding a bike and, just one less thing to think about. So it was just nice to put that on while I was getting ready in the morning at the hotel. And, there's my blue dot for the day.
Awesome. I'm so proud of you.
So next up, not for the faint of heart, Jess Sims, a 60-minute full body advanced bike boot camp from Monday, October 18th. And I love this new fall schedule because Jess used to it was a 5 p.m. Monday bike boot camp every week. And now she's doing it at noon, typically every Monday. So Jackie and I both did this one live together. So we had our, little spaces off the bike where we were transitioning to the floor. But I mean, it was super hard, but, Jess always plays the best music and she can do no wrong. She's just a great, coach. So solid bike boot camp if you want to get in some really good strength and cycle. I don't do enough strength, just solo strength on the floor. So I love the boot camps because it really forces me and it breaks up the monotony. I don't want to just run or cycle. So I love that transition back and forth, from the bike or, from the tread. So next up, and she also, good mix playlist wise, Ludacris, Puffy, P. Diddy, Lil Jon. Like I said, Jess always has, great hip hop playlists. Last up, I'm going to give our man across the pond, Ben Aldis. This was the ride, actually. It was between the 2-for-1 Beyonce with Hannah and Cliff and Ben's later 30-minute 2010s ride. I had counted myself in for both, and I opted for Ben's ride because he just really has the best music. I'll give him full credit there.
Yeah.
And this one was just wall-to-wall bangers, as Ben would say. J Balvin, Kanye, Dua, Maroon 5, Pink, Coldplay. But my favorite, just right in the middle of the ride, had to be Pitbull's Fireball. That just got me, me so fired up. Because I don't think I've heard that song on the bike or the tread in a really long time. And Jackie was doing another ride on demand across the room on her bike. And I just remember when we got out of the saddle, just going wild to Fireball. So just solid ride, 2010s ride from Tuesday the 19th.
Definitely going to try that one. Yeah, so awesome.
That's all I got for picks of the week.
Wow. Yeah. I think we had quite a nice array of stuff, which is good, which is awesome. Yeah. So I guess, John, that pretty much about wraps it up. You know what, it was funny because when I got the list of news stuff, I figured this was going to be a quickie and a quick show.
Yeah, we kind of fly right through it. Yeah.
And there was a lot. There was so much. There was so much information. There's
definitely a lot to talk about with dancing. Definitely some strong opinions this week.
For sure. For sure. Well, good. Let's hope. And again, you guys are watching this hopefully Sunday or Monday. So let's hope that you listen to us and vote for our boo on Monday night. We want to make sure we get him in there for as long as we can. No question. But yeah, again, thank you so much for taking the time to listen to the show. Hopefully we gave you everything that you guys needed. And we look forward to seeing you back here next week. So for me here in Florida for this week, bye for now, everybody.
Bye from now from me here in Michigan. And as always, we will see you on the leaderboard.
Thank you for watching Pelo Buddy TV, your source for everything Peloton, by the community, for the community. Work out with us using the Pelo Buddy TV leaderboard tag and find us on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter at Pelo Buddy. Don't forget that we have a podcast available so that you can listen to us while on the move. Just search for Pelo Buddy TV on any major platform and hit the subscribe button so you never miss an episode.